will talk to the CEO at the Tony Elumelu Foundation in just a moment. But United Capital, which is one of the subsidiaries of the UBA Group, this morning posted its second quarter 2019 earnings, showing a very big jump in its investment income, 10% growth year-on-year due to big investments in returns from bonds, stocks, and other financial assets. Total assets posted by United Capital in second quarter, 141.3 billion naira, just coming through net profit for the second quarter, April to June 2019, that's hitting 1.01 billion, a whopping 58% quarter-on-quarter growth. Profit before tax also up by almost the same margin to 1.21 billion. That's a big jump from less than 1 billion naira reported in the first quarter of this year. Q1, 770 million naira. Second quarter, a jump in pre-tax profit to 1.21 billion naira. Revenue also climbed 23%. That's part of the data that the market will be digesting today from United Capital, the investment banking arm of the UBA Group. So let's talk to Ifeyinwa Ugochukwu, who is the Chief Executive Officer at the Tony Elumelu Foundation. This is the final countdown to next week, big event. You're looking at more than 5,000 delegates, 3 presidents coming through to Transcorp Hilton in Abuja. This is as big as that can get for the 2019 edition of the Tony Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Forum. But this is big, not just for Nigeria, but Pan-Africa. Good morning. It's good to have you, Ifeyinwa.
Thank you very much.
It's good. This is your show for next week, so I'm sure this is a very busy time for you.
Yes, it is.
Crossing the T's and dotting the I's. You're bringing 3 presidents to one single location. You got to be a president yourself. This is big. so I'm sure this is about talking about entrepreneurship transformation. This is one big initiative a few years ago that for some people thought, well, maybe Tony Elumelu will be able to pull it through. Well, maybe not. Now it looks like the chicken has actually come home to roost, and this has taken a very solid foundation that heads of state is now becoming like an African Union.
Exactly. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Because when we launched this program 5 years ago, our founder committed $100 million from his family wealth to identify, train, mentor, and fund 10,000 African entrepreneurs over 10 years. You know, critics said, where are you going to find 10,000 African entrepreneurs? It's impossible. You can't do it.
You look at the map of Africa.
Exactly.
Looks like half the desert, half whatever.
Precisely.
So why are they?
But then the issue is they didn't bank on us leveraging technology, because our entire program is online. The application portal is online. The program itself is online. So the forum that we're hosting in Abuja next week is when we now get to see all our entrepreneurs, our cohort for the year, face to face.
Those who are physically present and those who are in their various offices and homes across the continent.
Watching, exactly. So the first year, we had 20,000 people apply to the program. So already that showed them that those numbers were real. But 5 years later, in 2019, we had 216,000 young Africans apply to our program across all 54 African countries.
And I haven't applied yet.
So you absolutely have to apply.
I haven't applied yet. So we're looking at a population of about 1.2 billion people. Yes. This is going to show the depth of entrepreneurship that is just on the ground, on the continent, yet to be tapped.
Exactly. We are the promoters of the concept of Africapitalism, which was coined by our founder. And Africapitalism simply states that the economic development of Africa rests in the hands of the private sector. Yes, we need government to create an enabling environment. We need government to give us stability and security. But economic growth is going to be catalyzed by the private sector. And that is why we believe that investing in the small and medium enterprises through entrepreneurship is the only way Africa can sustainably get out of poverty and into prosperity.
This is the young man, Tony Elumelu, back then himself an entrepreneur on Broad Street. So you understand the business of banking and rolling up his sleeves as a young banker in those days. So it looks like the man who's the proponent of Africapitalism understands how it feels to be an entrepreneur. So how much have you harvested over the last 5 years?
So over the last 5 years, we as a foundation select 1,000 every year. The 1,000 that we select every year, they go through a proprietary online training program over 12 weeks, which has been likened to a mini MBA. And at the end of that training program, they have to have a business plan, which they have developed through the learning. And that business plan is now the basis on which we give them a $5,000 non-returnable seed capital to get their foot in the door, because we believe that training and funding are two sides of the same coin. So we have done, as at this year, the foundation would have sponsored 5,000 entrepreneurs. But then because of the huge demand across Africa, we've decided to open up the program to partners. And that is why we have partners like the African Development Bank, the International Committee for the Red Cross, GIZ, the German Development Organization, UNDP, and many other organizations, even governments, African governments, Botswana, Benin, and states in Nigeria, like the Anambra State government. So this year, we selected 3,000. So the cohort for 2019 is 3,000, as opposed to the usual 1,000. So in total, the impact felt from our program is 7,520. And if you count the big UNDP announcement we had earlier this month, that would be 8,520.
You folks are inviting me to be there in Abuja next week for this event.
Absolutely.
But I'm beginning to feel that I'm going to get lost in the crowd. I'm going to get lost in the crowd because this is huge.
It's huge.
Now, I want a bit of the rundown here. I'm not sure for perhaps for whatever reasons, not named the African presidents coming, but you have exhibitors and others. And I found that very, it'd be something very different from other programs in which I saw the editorial that was a bit so I can have some nice African entrepreneurs try to have an idea of what folks are doing.
So this year's forum is exceedingly exciting. And that is why we picked Transcorp Hilton Abuja, or should I say the iconic Transcorp Hilton Abuja, because it has not just the space, but the status to cater to presidents and entrepreneurs alike. So let's talk about the presidents. I like to call it the 5 Ps. So we will be expecting presidents, public sector, private sector, policymakers, and pop stars. Of course, our entrepreneurs are the basis on which we are gathering
if you
there.
add J to that, I would journalist. I like the 5 Ps and 1 J. Okay,
5
great.
Ps and 1 J.
Yes. So the exhibitors will bring a bit of a different perspective and delegates' interest into this, isn't it?
That would be at the UBA Marketplace. So that's happening on the sidelines of the Tony Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Forum. So you have the forum on one side, where we'll be having plenaries that will discuss things like tackling the challenges that plague African entrepreneurs. We will be discussing, the role of the digital economy in promoting Africa. The fourth industrial revolution, as we all know, is one that Africa cannot afford to miss. And so we have a plenary titled Plug In or Get Left Out, because African entrepreneurs must ensure that they are part of the digital economy. And, amazing speakers. We have healthcare panel, a healthcare panel that's looking at the role of healthcare in promoting economic transformation in Africa. And on that panel, you think it's only presidents, but we also have first ladies. So we have Dr. Elumelu on that panel. We have the First Lady, Her Excellency Aisha Buhari of Nigeria. We have the First Lady of Guinea, Her Excellency Jenna Kabi Kondi. We have the First Lady of Mali, Her Excellency Aminata Magra, as well as the Director General of WHO and the Vice President of the International Committee for the Red Cross, ICRC. So this is truly a global event.
Did I say I was going to get lost in the crowd?
You won't get lost.
I'm going to get really swamped by these big names coming through. Yeah. But the focus here is on not just entrepreneurs, but young entrepreneurs on the African continent. The population is growing very fast, with Nigeria going to be running into hundreds of millions by the year 2050. So this is catching them young, fixing the future today, is it? Absolutely.
Absolutely. And that is why we believe that we need to train our young to not have a job-seeking mentality, but a job-creating mentality. And that is what entrepreneurship is all about. We know that most developed countries have the private sector, the small and medium enterprises, being the ones who are creating the jobs. And that is why at the Tony Elumelu Foundation, we believe in empowering entrepreneurs, because they are the ones who will create the jobs that Africa desperately needs to cater to the burgeoning youth population. And so the Entrepreneurship Forum is a place where young Africans can come face to face with their presidents and tell their presidents directly, this is what we need to create an enabling environment for us young entrepreneurs to succeed. And that is the platform that we provide. And you mentioned 3 presidents. Actually, we have about 5. So we have the president of Rwanda, We have the president of Senegal, the president of DRC. We have the prime minister of Uganda coming, and of course, our very own vice president, Yemi Oshibanjo. And they will be moderated by Fareed Zakari of the CNN. So it's going to be electrifying.
You sound electrifying yourself. I'm really, really enthused about this. But again, if we talk about TEF Connect and bringing everybody to understand, and like you said in your earlier comment, funding is one thing, training is the other. Yes, the money has always been there, and it's always there, whether it's for UBA, whatever. But again, training is important, and speaking to a few other bankers and all of this, all about entrepreneurs in Africa still lack training, adequate training. How important is this in the entire mix of getting the right entrepreneurship that will be the engine of growth for tomorrow's Africa's South Korea, Japan, Vietnam, and a few other countries like that?
Doing what we've done for 5 years, you know, it just showed us that the entire ecosystem needs to come together in one place, not just once a year when we have our entrepreneurship program, which is the largest gathering of African entrepreneurs, but constantly and, you know, deliberately. And that is why last year we launched the www.tefconnect.com, which is the largest digital online platform for African entrepreneurs, bringing together the entire entrepreneurship ecosystem in Africa. It's the gateway to the African entrepreneurship ecosystem, and it has a marketplace on it called the UBA Marketplace as well. And so this platform was built to offer entrepreneurs everything they need end to end, from conceptualizing their ideas, business tools to create their business plans, training. So the training that we offer to our cohort is actually online on TEF Connect. So even if you apply to the program and you don't get accepted, you can actually have access to the training, because we believe that every African should have that training. And TEF Connect is built to be Africa's Alibaba or Africa's Facebook for African entrepreneurship. You know, we want African entrepreneurs to have access to markets globally and within Africa as well. And that is why today we have just over 600,000 subscribers, and it's growing on a daily basis. So TEF Connect is big.
You think 2020 is your 1 million?
Well, I'm glad you know we're now counting in the millions and not in the thousands.
Yeah, from 20,000, you're almost heading to a million subscribers.
That is the impact we're looking to have.
I'm interested in a bit of the feedback that you've gotten over the last 5 years from those who have benefited, who have gone through training and funding and what have you across the continent. What's the feedback like?
It's phenomenal. I mean, just to give you a sneak preview, I shouldn't be doing this.
I know.
But
this is channel television. Please go ahead.
Yes. You know, we had a crew go around Africa shooting our entrepreneurs for a documentary that we'll be presenting at the forum next week. And, you know, the cameraman actually said to me, "You guys don't realize what you are doing in Africa." That one of the entrepreneurs said to him, he doesn't understand, Tony Lumelu, he didn't have to do this. But he could have just focused on Nigeria. What is making him go around the whole of Africa, touching lives, empowering people, giving people hope where they had no hope, giving people the belief in themselves and the empowerment to make something of their lives. So it's real. What we're doing is real. The impact is vast. It's changing lives, it's changing families, it's changing communities. And it is the entrepreneurs hearing from the horse's mouth that brings it home to you. And that is why the TEF Entrepreneurship Forum is very important to us, because it gives everyone a chance to hear from the horse's mouth. Not just the ones that we've gone and videoed, but the ones who will be there live and direct next week in Abuja at the Transcorp Hilton.
Technically speaking, from how many countries would you be receiving delegates?
All 54 African countries. All 54 African countries will have beneficiaries of the Tony Lumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Program.
Let's talk about African Union. Meeting place. You folks are giving the African, the AU, a very big fight.
Well, it's all collaborative. I mean, we do have a commissioner of the AU in one of our panels. We have high-level executives from the African Development Bank, from Afrexim Bank. You know, so it's a collaborative effort. It's about partnerships.
So when you have the president of the AFDB himself?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So you say
Kiwumi Adesina will be there. Orama will be there as well.
From Egypt?
From Egypt, absolutely. So these are all our partners. We work hand in hand.
Very, very interesting to have you speak with us here. Would there be room for networking?
Of course, absolutely. And that would also happen at the UBA Marketplace, which I said mentioned earlier is happening by the TEF Forum. So the UBA Marketplace is the biggest retail event where entrepreneurs who are in fashion, beauty, home, or food can come and showcase their goods and sell.
There's going to be nice food there.
Oh,
that's music to my
and
ears.
Music and movies. There's going to be a masterclass on how to make movies that's going to be anchored by Richard Mofedamijo. There's going to be masterclasses on how to turn your talent into profit by DJ Copy, DJ Neptune, and don't miss the fireside chat with WizKid and the GMD of UBA. I'm
going to find it. I'm finding it very difficult to decide whether to listen to the president or to go be DJ Copy and the rest of them.
We'll make sure we don't clash.
You make sure they don't clash.
Yes.
So you will listen to the heavy talk. Then I go to perhaps a place where I can find some nice ideas, some talents for my retirement period. It's never too late to learn.
Never too late to learn.
Never too late to learn.
But
I could still play guitar or something like that.
All roads lead to the Transcorp Hilton Abuja next week, 26th and 27th of July, for the TEF, the Tony Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Forum, and the UBA Marketplace.
Thank you. And I'll see you then. It's going to be very busy for you then, so I better have this handshake now, because I'm not sure I'll be able to get that next week. You sitting down with the president and all the other very big dignitaries. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having
you on the program. I'm sure you've got a very heavy background that makes all this possible.
Well, it's a great team. It's a great team. I think when you work with a great team and a great leader, everything falls into place.
Because this is a group that has so many moving parts.
Absolutely.
So sometimes I find it very difficult. How do you guys go?
Like I said, have the right people and you can achieve anything. And that is what we have. And our founder, Mr. Elumelu, has a huge talent in attracting the right people.
I know. Does he ever get tired?
He doesn't, actually.
Because I want to add to what he's doing.
He doesn't
Perhaps
get tired.
he needs to write that book on Afrocapitalism.
Exactly.
It's called the Bible of Afrocapitalism.
Exactly. But I think it shows his greatness, because he identifies, you have to have it to be able to give it. So
if you don't have it, you can't give it.
No, you can't.
So he's got it,
and
he's given it.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the missing link.
Yes.
That some of the, they got it, but they can give it. Yeah. Thank you so much, and our best regards to Tony Elumelu himself.
Thank you so much.
The Afrocapitalism man, proponent.